I really want community. I love community, but I despise community. And it seems like community is all we're left with in modernity. When I look around at these apartment buildings and all these neighbors that don't know each other and everyone working diverse jobs and not truly bonded in a shared sense of this is who we are, that's where we're going, and that we love and we support each other on the way there. We don't have that in modernity. It's really become every man for himself. Like, I just look around at the level of how big our outer circles are and our inner circles and our families. Like, everything is shrinking and shrinking. This is a big problem in modernity. And I just went to like a community camp out. I go to dances, I go to martial arts, I go to a lot of different things, and they all call themselves community, right? And at this community camp out, there's a lot of like kumbaya going on in this like dance community. But at the same time, I'm like, it's fun getting to know people and letting people surprise you and like having a good weekend with someone. But 99% of the people there, I will never see again. We're not going in the same direction. Like there's no interdependence between us, right? And therefore, it just feels fake. It feels superficial. It feels like the shadow of a real community. And like, it doesn't really last. And furthermore, it's crazy that I go to these community events. I even hang out with my family and like extended family parties and stuff. I find myself retreating all the time. Like, I'm just going to go camp alone. I'm going to go be alone. And I don't have the problem most people have of like, I can be charismatic, I have social skills, like I can be popular, right? I actually retreat because I just never feel met. Like it just feels so fake to me. And I don't think I'm alone in this. I think a lot of people feel this way, and it's why like loneliness is skyrocketing. People are retreating from the world. But I don't think creating more value-based communities like, we're having our sauna. Like, I love sauna cold plunge centers. I love dance. I love martial arts. I love these things, and it's cool to have value-based communities, but it's more so just hanging out. It's like a lot of guys in the modern world, like our friends, we grab a beer with on Saturday. Maybe we go to a barbecue once a month. And as we get older, it's harder and harder to make real friendships. And you know why? It's because men bond shoulder to shoulder. We bond by going in the same direction and having a sense of identity of this is who we are. That is where we are going. And I not only like live for myself, I live for our tribe. I live for us. We have a stronger sense of a larger identity. And a lot of people try to make this superficially, like it's like the company's slogan, we're a family here, and this is our value statement. But no one really buys into it, right? Because you're not kindred with each other. You're not really a people. You're colleagues, right? And I think this is really what a lot of people are searching for, is a deeper sense of home. I know it's what I'm searching for. It's like what I long for is a deep sense of home in my people. But there's so many forces in modernity that seek to annihilate that. There's two in particular I want to dive deeper into in this video. One is the individualism of modernity. I was just sitting there co-working with this lady. And this lady is a pretty radical feminist. And I asked her, like, do you feel like a woman has a duty to her family or to have kids? And of course her answer is no. Like, a woman can make her own decisions and all this stuff. And, I'm all for like each individual person, making their own decisions of what feels best. But as in general, like, if the birth rate isn't above 2.1, society will collapse, civilization will collapse, right? There is a sense of duty that women have to having kids, and there's a sense of duty that men must have to protecting and providing and nurturing families. Like, this is really important. It's really basic. Nowhere in human history would I have to explain this to someone, that we have a duty to a larger family and a larger tribe than ourselves. And so much of the modern ideology sold to us are ultimately selfish. Oh, I can do whatever I want as a man, or I can do whatever I want as a woman. And it's like, okay, do whatever you want and just perpetuate this loneliness epidemic, perpetuate the collapse of civilization, perpetuate the loss of everything your ancestors fought for. Go for it, you wayward fools. It's like, my friends, we do have a duty to each other. We have a duty to our families, and we have a duty to our tribe. But the problem is there's no larger sense of tribe anymore. The idea of a town has fallen away. The idea of a religious shared gathering space has fallen away. The idea and identity behind a nation has fallen away. And some of this is for the best, right? But at the same time, we need a strong sense of this is who we are. And if you don't have that, people will ultimately live for themselves. I don't blame the feminist. I don't blame her. She's a product of a renter society, of an apartment society, of living disconnected, from your tribe and from your family. So, I'm grateful I could leave home. I could travel the world. I can go meet the people that I do really align with and create a chosen family. I'm grateful for that. But at the same time, this rampant individualism has to go. We need to actually think about our duty to a larger whole and a larger body. And leaders need to rise up and say, hey, this is the larger whole and larger body that I stand for, right? And find the others like you. That's why I'm building the men's academy, my men's community online and in real life. There's a link below about that. But so we need a sense of this is who we are, that's where we're going, and this is my duty to the whole, responsibility. The second thing that we don't have, this is really taboo, but it's the idea of exclusion, of excluding people. Right now in our society, inclusion, you get status points for being super inclusive. And I believe in inclusion after radical exclusion. For instance, if you had a really awesome community and then you imported 50% of all the homeless people in your city into that community, the community would be destroyed overnight because you tried to include everyone, right? This is what happened to the Osho community in the 1980s, Rajneesh. They imported everyone to try to win the vote, and it destroyed the community. Burning Man's a great example of radical exclusion. The Burning Man ethos is radical inclusion. Include everyone, be really loving, and that's beautiful. But to get to Burning Man, you literally have to spend a week in hell at 120-degree desert days, freezing nights. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's very hard to get to. And that creates this barrier to entry where you have to be very bought in and really caring about the whole and matching the charisma of the whole before you can be radically included. If Burning Man was right outside of Miami, it would be terrible. It would just degenerate into a drug-infested, it would just degenerate much further than it already has degenerated. So what I'm saying is it's socially taboo to talk about exclusion. I run a community online. I exclude people. People get on calls. They apply to talk to me. They apply to join our community. And if the vibe isn't right and they're not a right candidate, I don't let them in because I protect the sacredness of the community. I protect the sacredness of the container. And if someone's causing problems, I kick them out. I hold a boundary. So this is something that we're not allowed to talk about anymore in modernity, is the idea of radical exclusion, of boundaries, of barriers, of borders. So it's very interesting. Both of these things, radical inclusion, radical exclusion, they need to be balanced, right? It's the same thing with individualism and collectivism. They need to be balanced. There has to be a middle way of hey, I support your individuality of what you want to do with your family and your life, but there's also a collective duty that we have to each other, right? And this is the conflict between the left and the right in general. Is the right is very much about family duty and personal responsibility, and the left is about freedom and fuck the family and that shit. And it's okay, I don't want a militant family order, but I also don't want just radical individual freedom with no thought to the collective that's just destroying everything, and no thought to boundaries or exclusion, which is also destroying everything. So there has to be a middle way, and this is how you need to think about, building community again, is exclusion and inclusion. Once someone is in, radical inclusion and radical love is beautiful. This is why women are awesome inside of a community, right? And then also in our own personal lives, it's like, I think it's time to start sacrificing some of our individual freedom for more of a collective duty and bringing forth an ideal of like, this is who we are. That is where we are going. No, we're not trying to be everything. This is what we think is best. Like, there needs to be a bit more egotism in the community because everyone's trying to be everything and it just dilutes it into nothing. So this is why I really want community, but I despise community. If you want to talk to me one-on-one, link below. Also, there's a link below to my Retribalized podcast where I talk more about this stuff and would love to have you there. Peace.